And yeah, it started. Okay, well, first off, I just want to welcome everybody to this masterclass on how to fix your aim, or just aim in general. We'll go over fundamentals. You can see that I put in part 1 because there might be multiple themes we can go over, and it might be not possible to cover everything in 1 hour. And to give you a quick overview, what we're gonna go over in general with this masterclass is multiple themes to be able to fix your aim. I usually like to view it this way, to just make a note of it. I think this image, I just drew that before the class. It's pretty basic, but you can look at it, how I view the game overall. In my experience, in order to fix your mechanics, you need to fix your decisions, positioning, timing, and tempo first. So it sort of looks like a pyramid in a way. You're not able to properly place the next block, this mechanics block, if you're not able to fix all the seams below. So that is something what we're gonna talk a lot about too, just how to fix your positioning, which is related to aim, which is possible to just make it easy for you to aim. We also can talk about the timing, tempo. That is something what we talked a few masterclasses ago, so I will not talk about it that much, but it still can affect your aim, just understanding of the flow of the fight. And decisions as the large block below, just down anywhere. It's like your fundament in a way. If you fix that, if you know where to put your attention, where do you expect the enemy to be, where do you expect your teammates to be, you're able to scout information properly, then it makes it so much easier to aim. Because to be honest with you, in most of my sessions, and I've been coaching for it's been 6-7 years now, the most requested topic has been how to fix my aim. And to be honest, we always end up fixing this first: decisions, positioning, timing first, in order to fix the aim. Because if you don't have the best position possible, or you don't even know where the enemies are, then it's much harder for you to aim. I will show you a few examples as well of the pro players, how they're able to implement some of the strategies too, so it will make it easy for you to aim. But yeah, this is basic drawing of how I view the game. And now let's just remove that real quick, and we'll go over the other seems a little bit in depth. I highlighted what we can go over first. I would start with effective practice and mentality. That is something what I always cover. I know it might sound a little bit boring, some of this, but it's important to fix. If you're not practicing properly, if your mentality is not fixed, then your aim becomes jittery, it becomes more anxious in a way. That is something what I will talk about going forward too. As I mentioned, decisions is important to fix. Your positioning, tempo, mechanics. And mechanics, I will separate it on 3 themes. It's your mouse control, it's your movement, and aim in general, some of the aim specifics. I will just call it aim details, because there are multiple connections you can make to the movement, to the mouse control. Yes, some people call that entire thing aim, so I will just kind of keep it this way: aim details. Yeah, I will put some stuff in there. So we'll cover aim details and effective practice first, and at the end you can ask me any questions, and in few weeks, so I'll do masterclasses on those other themes too. If we have time, I will cover some of these other themes as well. It's possible, but yeah, it depends. Okay, let me make sure open the chat so I can see that. Okay. You mentioned positioning is usually my issue. Yeah, exactly. Positioning can affect your aim a lot, right? And I remember you've been playing Punisher quite a lot too, Gun, if I'm not mistaken. Just making sure that you can continuously hit stuff is just so important, right? And if I don't have the best position possible, if you maybe out in the open as well, you don't have cover, your aim becomes more anxious too. But yeah, let's start with the most boring scene, but it's the most important one too. Let's start with the effective practice, what it is. And some of you, if you've been with me since the start of Academy, we talked about consistency, how to be consistent as a player. I have this document here. I will link it to you as well, but this is what we went over in our in our previous masterclasses regarding consistency, just how to remain all of this here, all these variables, how to have fun, making sure that you have balanced diet, sleep, exercise, all of that is important because it can increase your focus. If your attention is increased, it makes it easy for you to make decisions and readjust your aim. By the way, I think it's good if we start with some of the examples right away. I actually prepared some of the good examples from Sparker. I believe, yeah, there was Sparker. I think we'll use some of their VODs, and I did record that because there are no recent games, it seems, and the profiles are all private. So we'll use those examples as well to just showcase some of the stuff. But yeah, basically, making sure that you have fun, you consistent within your performance is really important. Any real life factors can affect your aim in general. Always saying that if you able to fix that first, if you confident as well in terms of your mentality when you go in the game, that makes it so much easier for you to aim. I would highly suggest, if you can, look into mindset aspects. Something to start with right away is take breaks. I suggest to be more disciplined if you can. Just try to take breaks every 2-3 losses. This makes it easy for you to readjust, because some people, they would think that, okay, I lost 2-3 games and it's not affecting me maybe as much. You might think that you're performing really well, but in reality, sometimes your perception of the things might be not as clear, because you're right in the moment in a rush, and all these games you went over, it's sort of like a weight on your shoulders. It's easier to just in case, if there's some weight of those games, if you feel more anxious because you're not able to recognize it in the moment, if you're disciplined with taking a break, then it makes it easier for you to start just start rebuilding your confidence and rebuild your energy because you took the break. I suggest do something what's not in front of your PC. Just do something outside of it. Maybe go for a walk, maybe do something else. It's usually the best thing you can do to just take a break from the game. There's an article I'm gonna leave. I will also share this presentation with you guys, so it's no problem. It's gonna be how to deal with anxiety. Why it's important is because if you're anxious right in the moment, for whatever reason, maybe you get tilted by your teammates, maybe you recognize that there's something what's frustrating you, maybe certain character skit, maybe there's just Spider-Man diving your backline and you tilted by it. Well, doesn't matter. But if you're feeling anxious, then your aim becomes more tensed and it becomes more jittery. I will show you some of the examples of it later on as well, but it's basically, you might recognize it when it's tense. It's more like this. If you see my cursor, okay, give me a second, I will just go in the practice range. If you will see my cursor, it will be moving left and right a lot. I see that with a lot of students, and especially if they play hitscan players. If they play hitscan, it's affecting their gameplay a lot. So for example, if I would play something like Widow and I want to try to aim, imagine if my aim is like this, it's more jittery because it's more tensed, right? Then those smaller micro readjustments, it's not as smooth, right? And it's harder for you to hit the stuff. So instead of it, you need to feel more calm, and this way it makes it easy, kind of moving from point A to point B, point A to point B to hit the target. Yeah, that happens to me sometimes. Yeah, exactly. Because so much more tense, right? It might be even because of some in real life stuff. That's why I say, well, if you can fix just your exercise, your diet, everything, it can also affect your aim too. Let me see. How do I not tense up in certain situations? I think that affects my aim as well. Yeah, it's a good question. You can break it down in multiple variables, right? Why are you tensed? Well, first of all, are you able to deal with just anxiety in a game? By the way, let me just visit this. This is from Reddit. I've wrote this article here. You might... So what are the signs that you have an anxiety? Usually if you have an excessive worry or fear about in-game events or situations, maybe if you have difficulty concentrating or focusing, certain muscle tension or avoidance of certain situations or activities, it's kind of, for example, you're in a game, you avoid taking duels, so you avoid playing ranked, you're just afraid of losing your rank, stuff like that, okay? And how do you deal with that? Okay, you can go over this article by yourself. I'm not going to go in depth, but start with how do you build confidence? How do you take breaks? How do you practice mindfulness? I'll talk about that as well. Some meditations, deep breathing in a moment. As a player myself, I highly recommend that, because if you're in a moment in the game, if you take that's what I call lazy breathing, you inhale and exhale 3 times, then your heart rate is going to decrease. And because your heart rate is decreasing, then it slows down your anxiety in a way, and it's gonna make your aim less anxious, less jittery. Okay, so whenever you recognize, okay, I'm more tensed up, I'm more anxious right in the game, then this is one of the best way, honestly. I would also do that. And in general, maybe some meditation in general is good if you like it. Why not? 15-20 minutes is really good to invest. Overall health, as I mentioned before, all the stuff, exercise, sleep, and working with your thoughts, that's another part. It's more like on psychology side of things. Yeah, just making sure that you're not worried about some events, and making sure that you interpret all the stuff in a more positive, constructive way for you as a player. And setting goals, of course. If I'm setting realistic goals, and that is something what I mentioned here, if it's constructive and positive, instead of me making expectations of that I will win every match now. Okay, I will try to win as many games as possible. This is not as positive goal and constructive, because there's still going to be games which you're going to lose no matter what. It's going to be really, really tough. Okay, and you, generally speaking, want to try to set up a goal which gives you positive outcome no matter what. For example, if my goal is to improve at certain aspect of the game, like using cover or using just using certain characters kit, just using my ability. How do I use my ability on, a Spider-Man or a Widow? Just making sure that I'm able to use something in time. Doesn't matter. You can improve with that no matter what, even though you're losing or winning. So this could be a good, constructive, positive goal. And those got to be simple and concise too. If your goal is too general, and I know I mentioned that before, but again, I'm repeating myself, but it's important. Yeah, it's important. If you have that simple goal, then it makes it easy for you to digest, improve, and apply. Instead of praising the goal like, let's fix positioning or let's fix decisions, you'd rather break down the large objective into smaller pieces. For example, instead of fixing positioning, I could say, let's fix how do I play cover. I need to play close to cover, or I need to take 90 or 180 angles, just off angles, let's say, in general. Yeah, stuff like that. Okay, you can always break it down. And another part I would add, just related to aim, you don't want to overthink focusing your aim. As I mentioned before, aim, it's a large topic. It might consist of multiple variables, so you need to add something specific you can focus on, so it makes it easy for you to process. Because if there are too many things you're trying to focus within your aim, and even here you can see that your aim, like in general in mechanics, might consist of multiple parts, and your aim, it might be influenced by multiple things, such as your decisions, positioning, tempo, just understanding of maybe some other details. That is something what I'm gonna talk about later. But if you know that all of that influences the aim, that it makes sense to break it down and focus on the small variable first, and then this way it will be fixed. So your working memory is not busy. Okay, let me see. Yeah, that happens to me sometimes. Okay, I read that. Take a 15 minutes break away from the PC after 2 losses, so I can go play Minecraft. You can, but it's harder for your mind to exactly be reset. I'm just gonna say it's resetting your mind in a way, but it's not as effective compared to do something else outside of your workspace. Let's say I'm working. It's kind of why people someone can receive this advice that you gotta do something else let's say I'm working in my office 24/7. I don't want to sit in my office and relax there as well. Yeah, because you in the work mindset, your mind is not gonna relax as much, and compared to if I go for a walk or just go home, right? So it's kind of the same thing because if you're in the process of actively improving, even though it's just a game, right? The game is fun, but if you're playing competitively, and all the guys here, it seems, in academy, you guys want to actively improve, it's better that you have this better breaks, higher quality breaks, I would say. Got it. So switch to another computer. Well, well, you can do that technically. By the way, this is better compared to you being at the same PC. To be honest, that is something what I do sometimes as well. I literally have this PC in this room. There's a small room where I do sessions, I do masterclasses, and the second PC is somewhere just downstairs. It's just somewhere in another room, and it's not work PC. I just do something else on that. But yeah, well, you can, but still recommended do something else, not PC. Yeah. Okay, I have to make myself leave the area and go somewhere else, like outside, or do something that redirects my attention. Yeah, exactly. Well, second PC is not too bad, to be honest. I would say I like the idea. You might see the streamers, even if you ask the streamers, do they also watch all the stuff? Do they also kind of do relaxed activities in front of their PCs? Probably not. I would usually say that they will try to, if they're proper, like, more dedicated, I don't know all how to put it, more, especially with older guys, they will, they have the tendency that they understand they have a lot of anxiety if they sit in the same workspace, so yeah. So don't look at any screens. Ideally, if you can, yes. I think this is better. This is always better. Okay, we almost done with this part. We gonna come to the most, I think, juicy, in a way, aim details. That is what most people are here for, I think. And there are a lot of specifics we're gonna talk about, so yeah, be ready. Okay, it's probably better to do no screens. Yeah, exactly. I would suggest that. Okay, now I will link all of this to you as well. I think I need to post that in... Okay, I will do it this way, because I'm giving you the doc all the time. It looks like this. I will post some of the materials here just in case. Maybe let me just highlight what you will need as well. I will highlight this masterclass here. This is what you can read on consistency. So this is highly connected to what I mentioned today. You also might need the masterclass on how to deal with tilt or like autopilot. Yeah, well, autopilot. Oh, sorry. I think why it does this. Okay. This here is something what we can also highlight, and that's it. I think some of the other masterclasses, obviously, like timing and all the other stuff, but it's okay. You can take it step by step. Honestly, don't stress it. Just take one step at a time. This is what matters. Just fix your aim step by step. You don't want to overwhelm your working memory. Okay, now to start with aim. Okay, let me just do this real quick. I will show you an interesting video. I just need to prepare that. Give me a second. Okay, I think we need to reopen this presentation. Give me a second. Okay, I will show you the video and you tell me what do you think about both styles of aim, both person or like players aiming there. Okay, give me a second. Okay, just 2 seconds, and we're ready. Okay, give me a second. Okay, I think that's it. Okay, it's my battery critical. Okay, no worries. Let's see. Okay, so you can see this is first person aiming, and this is the second person aiming. This is one of the aim trainers, right? But generally speaking, let's just watch this again. Can you tell me, guys, what do you think about this first type of aim? What is the problem with this aim? What do you see? Let's stop right there. What do you see?
Shaky aim.
Shaky aim. Okay, what does it mean?
Not smooth.
Not smooth, so it's
It looks segmented.
Bunch of like overcorrecting.
Yeah,
It's too jerky and not like snappy enough, if that makes sense. Like
Mhm.
the initial flick is the initial flick was decent, but the micro flick is too, like, for me was a bit too jerky, if that makes sense.
Yeah, exactly. So you can see, and there are a lot of ways to break it down, but all of you guys are right, to be honest. And you can see, for example, here. Okay, let's just maybe make a drawing real quick. Okay, I need my drawing tool. Okay, Epic Pen, and it's loading. Okay, it's here. So they moving from this position A to this position B. And see, this is what a lot of players do. They kind of tend to over aim a little bit, and then they make the direction, the other movement, which is opposite in direction which they moved initially. So let's say I'm moving from point A to point B like this and over aim, then move to C, then it's much harder compared to me moving to point A to, like, let's say here, closer to this dot, yeah, and just make it like, so let's say I stop right here and then I add a little bit extra movement to the left. It's easier compared to me moving mouse left and right, because you lose the momentum this way. You kind of just tend to, because you make it two movements, you have the tendency to just miss a lot of shots. For example, you can look at it this way, yeah. You can also look at it that this person is trying to reach the target a little bit too fast. It feels like with one movement, yeah. This is what I maybe also mean with micro readjustments. By the way, this is a good example of this person is over aiming. They're going from here to here, and then they have to make the left movement, and this takes a lot of time, right? But if you watch the second person, watch what they're gonna do. They're moving and they're kind of stopping before hitting the target, because they're making this micro readjustments. And once they're at this point where they're closer to the target, they start moving again, and then they meet this dot, okay? Of course, they might also overflick sometimes, over aim a little bit, but that's a good example of what you can see with a lot of players, with a lot of games. They tend to this first example was a good example of over aim quite a lot of times. So what I recommend is try to do this trigger discipline thing. What it means is you need to try to do more micro readjustments. I will give you an example. Let me see. So yeah, for example, if I go in a practice range here, generally speaking, if I'm playing Hala, I'm playing Widow, doesn't matter. Instead of me trying to aim, let's say, from point A to point B, like, too fast, and then see, like, I'm over-aiming, you can kind of take your time, go from here to here first, and then next movement is gonna hitting the target, okay? You kind of get as close as possible to the target, and then you make the small micro readjustments afterwards, okay? Obviously, my aim is not perfect as well. You better watch somebody like pro player as well, and we'll watch the Sparker, by the way, so we can take a look at that too. But this is much better. You do more micro readjustments. I will show you an example of that too from Sparker. Let me see if there are any questions too. To jerk and the microflex, yeah, that was about the first person. It does a lot of shaky adjustments. Yeah, segmented aim. That second person is so confident. Yeah, by the way, confidence is another part, right? It's just being confident going in a game. And if you watch the Sparker as well, when they aiming, or anybody at the top level, honestly, they so good at just staying calm in a way. Okay, I'm gonna find the example. Okay, I think any of the games will do. It's good that I recorded some of the stuff before, actually, so we can use that, because now we cannot find Sparker games for free because everything is locked, all the profiles are private. Okay, let's just watch any game is working. Okay, so this exact thing, they're going. Just starting at the spawn, probably will set up on the slide off angle because they're playing Salak here, and after that, let's see what they're gonna do. Yeah, they actually go, they wanted to maybe try to search for anybody in the flank first, maybe try to go deeper angle later on, but for now, because the fight is taking place here, I think it's alright that they sit here, okay? And you see, okay, it might seem sometimes a little bit shaky, but if you do 0.25 speed, it's just so much better with the crosshair placement compared to the first person, right? I'm starting kind of placing the crosshair near, and then later on, I'm kind of following up with my next best micro adjustments, generally speaking. Of course, they're not hitting all the shots, right? But it's still more consistent compared to more shaky aim for anyone like for average ranks, let's say. It's also early in the when I recorded this, so they're probably even better at aiming now. But see, they're always taking the time to hit stuff. They're not, and this is another part about trigger discipline, is you taking time to actually click things. Instead of holding your fire all the time, you kind of waiting for the best moment when the crosshair is exactly on the target, like we saw with the second person when they hitting the dot, right? They taking the little bit of time and hitting the target. But you know that it's okay that when you practice your trigger discipline initially, that you take a lot of time to actually aim properly. So a lot of people, they tell me, but what if I lose value, right? I'm just constantly holding the fire, and because I'm not holding the fire, I'm not hitting every shot, then this is gonna be lower damage output. I'm not gonna do as good. But it's fine, because you can start slow and good first, kind of take your time, try to find the moving target. Let's say this bot is moving. I'm kind of taking my time and then starting to hit. I'm taking my time and then starting to hit. Taking my time and then starting to hit. Okay? It's okay. And then the more you do that, the easier it's going to be for you to readjust the crosshair. You'll do it faster. That is something what you can train. You can train the speed. By the way, I don't have proper setup, so my crosshair is shaky, so don't pay attention to it as much. But yeah, I need to adjust sensitivity. Now, anyway, it's the best if you can start slow and good first. Let me see if there are any questions. Yeah, okay. Do you guys have any questions, actually, about anything what I mentioned so far, or are we good to just continue?
None so far.
Okay, perfect.
At least for me. I don't know about the others.
Yeah, it's all good. It's all good. No, it's good that you mentioned that, though. Okay, I'm gonna see if there's anything else. Okay, yeah, so under aim is usually more effective compared to over aim. That's what I want to mention. And
Law asked if there was any any drills you recommend.
Yeah, that is something what I will talk about later. To be honest, I'm more, I don't know how to call it, but I'm more conservative on this, because a lot of people, they like to do aim training. They like to do something like, well, there are different types of aim trainers, honestly. You guys all know those Kovacs, yeah, whatever, and all of that. It can be good, especially if it's a certain routine you do before the game and warms you up. But honestly, I recommend to try to fix your aim in game scenarios, because we can make connections. You gotta fix your decisions, you gotta fix your positioning, you gotta fix your tempo as well. So if you practice your aim in game scenarios, then it's usually better. Okay, this is what I put it in warm up here. So when you do something like warm up, if you doing it in the game, for example, if I go in a practice range, literally the best thing, even though it might feel boring or maybe like, I don't know, a little bit not too advanced, kind of casual, it's okay that you do that, to be honest, because you're practicing versus real characters models in here. You just go in there, set up the movement on random. Well, you gotta also make sure that you hit the parameters here. Yeah, for example, I can choose the for example, Spider-Man, pretty chaotic movement, and then you gotta fix that generate type can be random, random generation range, short range, it doesn't matter, static, dynamic, it's gonna be dynamic, so you can adjust to the character's movement as well, and you can also place it on, I don't know, like movement speed can be normal, static movement. I think that's it. I think it's enough. I wouldn't add anything else for now, at least. Well, you can maybe also add a little bit of move action, kind of like this. For example, advanced combat is gonna be more chaotic. I think it's fine. It's better because it's closer to in-game scenario in a way, and you literally practice versus those models for a few minutes, and it's gonna be for some minutes, and it's gonna be fine. Like 10 15 minutes, maybe 20 minutes, depending on what character you play, and you're good. So there's a lot of chaotic movement in here. Usually it's enough, honestly. Okay, let me see. So yeah, just gonna be you will see how it looks like. Maybe for some people who don't know. Yeah, so there are a lot of Spider-Mans, they're moving. They're also hitting me. Yeah, maybe you can also reduce the amount. I think because now they hitting you directly, you may just also want to not want to them to hit you at first. Yeah, maybe just place it on, let's say, if I go on... Okay, they're not allowing me to, actually. I can end it. Give me a sec. Oh, well. Yeah, so I can end it first, and then you can place it on somewhere, I don't know, like basic, maybe combat or random is good enough to start with so they're not hitting you. And then after that, you can maybe also play with advanced combat or something, so it will feel more like a real game. But that's what I usually recommend. To be honest with you, when I was playing in Overwatch just for multiple years, now I'm playing Marvel Rivals as well, but not as much. But anyway, when I was grinding to top 10, and I've been playing characters like Tracer, for anyone who's familiar with this character, it's pretty aim intense character, and you have to do a lot of movement and dodge a lot of stuff. It's kind of similar to some characters like Spider-Man, and here there's a lot of movement, maybe Black Panther in a way. Yeah, you gotta flank a lot. So I've been playing Tracer a lot, and I've been playing in top 500 as well. And to just be able to warm up, I would just go in deathmatch and maybe do a little bit of tryhard FFA, just practice versus real characters model for 15 minutes, and that's it. And well, my aim was not the best, but still, I was able to be at the top of 100, so I guess it counts. Let's see. A Tracer style. Oh, actually, it's sort of in a way, yeah, there are some similarities, okay, with how you flank, yeah, actually, yeah, with how you dodge stuff as well, it's similar, and it's also similar in a way with the positioning too. The range is different though, and verticality. With Tracer, you cannot get verticality as easy. With Stalwart, you can exist above the roofs, you can just go fly up anywhere you want to. With Tracer, you're just more horizontal character. Yeah, exactly. Fast mobility is, I mean, yeah, exactly. This too. Stalwart is not as mobile in a way. You kind of go from point A to point B. That's why you can maybe say combination of Spider-Man and Stalwart something. But yeah, it's okay. They can fight back now. Need to get a new PC as soon as possible. Yeah, exactly. I actually didn't see that setting too. I was so used to this here. If you just move action, yeah, random. I was used to that. I didn't see that there's advanced combat. Maybe there was. I don't know. But yeah, they can fight back now, it seems. Okay. So it's better to start slow and take your time so you can be more consistent, right? Yeah, exactly. It's better to do that. Like, you do any activities, honestly. You go to the gym. Yeah, I go to the gym every week, for example. I'm training, and if I have new exercise, to be able to be good at that exercise, at how I lift weights, if I try to lift fast, imagine you try to lift fast 100 kilograms or something. Yeah, then it's gonna be it's gonna be pretty difficult for your body, and some of the parts of your body may break in a way, right? So it's kind of works similar in this way. Of course, nothing's gonna break. Well, actually, if you make a lot of chaotic movement, your wrist might suffer. Yes, so this is another thing. But you don't want to do anything too fast, I would say. Just make sure you start slow and good first. You build the technique, and then after that, you can build the speed. Interesting? Yeah. Well, it's kind of might sound like a weird analogy, right? But you don't want to be just aiming fast right away. You can always build up the speed. You see that good players, pro players, they smooth. Maybe I don't know how Necros positions himself now, for example, but this guy, he used to be famous for his fast Genji. They always would say, okay, this is the fastest Genji or something, and you could see how his micro adjustments was almost invisible because he could go from point A to point B so fast, so it would just, yeah, it just would be really hard to see, but it doesn't mean that he do not have those micro adjustments. He has those just are really fast. Really fast micro adjustments, so it's easy to do those currently. That makes sense then? Yeah, exactly. Okay, yeah, let's continue. Yeah, I'm excited. Let's go over anything else. What do we see here? Okay, understanding when to click. Yeah, as I mentioned, just need to take your time, like we see with this bots here. Actually, let's confirm the settings. Okay, They're not gonna fight back now, right? It's just gonna be normal random movement, I believe. So yeah, exactly. You just need to take your time. So I'm kind of placing my crosshair first, hitting, placing my crosshair first, and then hitting. And then the more you do that, yeah, the easier for you to place a crosshair. Just be better at the trigger discipline. These is gonna be, and remember, under aim. Yeah, under aim first. You kind of go from point A to point B. I'm not over aiming like this and then going back and losing the momentum. I'm going from here to here and then do another micro adjustment. Going from here to here, a readjustment. Here to here, readjustment. Yeah. Well, I kind of messed it up here, but yeah. Like for example, it's just like we saw in the Sparker, or that second person. I will show you that again. Let's just do the... Yeah, let's just watch the video again. Give me a second. Actually, I have another one for you as well, just in case. It's kind of from similar people, I believe. Oh no, the second one is not working. Okay, it's unlucky, but the first one is working still. Give me a second. Okay, here we go. It just takes... I need to drag that first. Give me a second. Okay, it's here. Yeah, so just watch that again. First person, jittery aim, a lot of over aim as well, and the second person, so much more confident. You can see those micro readjustments too, right? Yeah, this would be perfect. Okay, do you have any questions about all of that so far, by the way? Do you think it's better to make macro, well, it's not macro, it's micro readjustments, that's what I meant. But yeah, macro adjustments with VSD when possible. Yeah, sure, obviously you also need to try to dodge stuff, so you don't want to stand still. That depends on situation, if you want to stand still or not, of course. But generally speaking, the rule is, if I want to prioritize damage, then I do lower amount of movement, right? But on the other hand, if you getting damaged by somebody, then you need to be dodging a lot of stuff. You need to maybe use some of your movement ability, try to like strafe more left and right. So this way, this is what we call dodging. Yeah, you can kind of have the scale in a way. On one side of the scale, it's just normal strafing, where you're just trying to dodge some of the normal stuff. Maybe you can also stand still. And another part of the scale is dodging. You're prioritizing movement a lot. On strafing, you're prioritizing damage, mostly. Okay? So don't stress too much about under-aiming, because it's about building the technique and you can always make adjustments. Yeah, exactly. And ask questions. Did you solve those previous things as well? Those other more important things like your position, your timing, your decisions. Yeah, is that solved too? That's what I recommend. Again, 99% of the players I see, the problem is not the aim itself. It's just how they, well, it might be how they perceive some of the stuff, but it's also, yeah, the more important is how their decisions are, positioning, timing, all of that too. If I don't have the best position possible, it makes it harder for me to aim. That is something what we'll talk about in our next masterclasses too. I know we talked about that before as well, like in, for example, cover masterclass, but it's really important. Is then, would anyone do to get that level confidence for that kind of skill then? What do you mean? Is then, would anyone...
Basically, what I'm asking is, how would anyone be able to get to that kind of level when it comes to the videos that you've, or at least like the second half of the video that they've shown us?
Yeah, practice makes perfect, and practicing all of this Rabos, which I mentioned. I know we didn't go in depth on that yet, but for example, decisions. It can be anticipating where the enemies are. Positioning. If I position on the good off angle where those guys are easier for me to see, and at the same time I'm making it easy for me to aim. Yeah, like you can see in Sparker, by the way. Give me a second. There will probably a lot of times you will find them taking more 90 angles if the map allows them. Okay. By the way, they're also, like we mentioned, really good at the trigger discipline too. Let me see, maybe some of the examples when the fight develops. I don't know, like for example here, let's say when they're gonna try to take an angle, probably they will try to take the left side or something. Now they fight in main, they have an advantage. But for example, okay, they're ulting, that's fine. Just want to find any of the better examples where you can see that. Okay. Yeah, it might be even here, to be honest. Okay, so I'll just... let's just go a little bit more forward. This map is so linear as well, so I think, okay, I think this can be a good example, to be honest. For example, you can see that their team is kind of position A, they're moving this way, and they're on the side, position B, sort of forming this 90 angle on the way. Let's say somebody goes towards my team at A, this way, and they're gonna strafe against this angle A. They're gonna move left and right like that to just dodge shots from A. Okay, but because they do that, it makes it easy for me to hit stuff from B. I know this map is not the best to represent this, but with the maps where it's more, there are more options to go on the sides, it's easier to see typically. I think you will see that as well on the defense probably. I think it's easier to see because they have time to set up. Give me a moment. We'll just skip to that probably. Okay, so it's going forward. I think need to take a little bit more time. I had the timestamp for that too, actually. Maybe we can also start with that. Yeah, but I think it's gonna be somewhere on defense, which is easier to see too. Yeah, for example, now I'm starting on the side, 90 angle. My team is at the position most likely at this A here, on down there. I'm forming this 90 angle, makes it easy for me to hit stuff. If the enemy is trying to strafe, just like that, they go left and right in a way. Obviously, it depends on the map layout, depends on where your team is fighting, all of that. But eventually, if I'm on 90 angle, if the situation allows me, that makes it easy for me to aim. They always kind of lean to the side, yeah? Obviously, you need to adjust. For example, now they know, okay, I lost one teammate. I think there's... Give me a second. Yeah, for some reason, their teammate died there. It's okay. So they have to just give up some space. But when it's possible later on, when they can get on the angle, I think this is going to be always better for them to stay like this. Yeah, you see them on the side, staying kind of 90 angle when my team is around here. Okay, this makes it easy. I never thought about positioning that way before. Well, it's one of the ways to look at it. Again, it depends on your character, depends on what you do. Off angles, generally speaking, are more beneficial. 90 angles in general, they lead to making it easier for you to aim, I would say. But it doesn't mean that you always lean towards 90 angle, because it depends on your character skit as well. You need to start with what your character does. If your character is not flanker, right, I think it might be more difficult for you to stay on the 90 angle, exactly. So it's alright. But yeah, you can look at it this way too. Now, about the other parts we have here. Okay, so we mentioned that understanding when to click, making sure that aim is not tense but relaxed, more smooth. Yeah, it's the stuff I mentioned before. Like when you have this anxiety, you go in a game, you're more anxious, your aim becomes like this. Your cursor goes left and right. It's not good as well. You need to just be more relaxed with your arm, move left, right, so it's making it easy for you to aim. Okay, now there's interesting part on the aiming as well, finding your sensitivity. A lot of people ask me that, and you can find sensitivity with a lot of softwares, different programs whatsoever, but I recommend to do this. There's what's called PSA method. Well, first off, in easy fix, okay, if let's say for whatever reason you don't have a lot of time, in easy fix to fix your sensitivity, you just go from point A to point B and do that multiple times and see if you over aim or under aim. So let's say I do something like hell. I think with my setup, because my setup is new, I don't have proper sensitivity, I probably will over aim a lot. So let's say I go from this corner to this Luna, okay, and I try to click. Okay, let's just do that multiple times. Okay, so I try to click. Yeah, actually, it's kind of... Yeah, I think it's almost on point, but it feels like I need to... It's just... My sensitivity is a little bit too high for this setup still, because it's just a little bit more jittery, as you can see, when I'm starting moving from left and right. But when you do that, so let's say... Let me just do it slow. So I'm going from here to here. Some of the people, they might end up either here or there. So this way you can make readjustments, just switch your sensitivity. If you over aim, then you lower sensitivity. If you under aim, then you increase the sensitivity. That's an easy fix. Now the better fix is try to do this here. I think I did pause this before in the chat. It's called PSA calculator. How you need to go about that. Okay, so first off, you need to make sure that you can do 360 degrees turn. Okay, if I'm able to do that, if you have enough mouse mousepad space. Yeah, like let's say I'm going from here to here. You need to just be able to do this. First off, it's 180 turn. Yeah, sorry, this 180 turn. And second, you need to be able to do this 360. It's just something like, yeah, for me, my setup is different. I think I don't have that opportunity. My mouse pad is a little bit off, but let me just do that again. So for example, like this, yeah, so sort of, yeah, again, not the most accurate, but you get an idea. If you have the proper setup, I will have mine in like a week, so it should be okay. Yeah, 360 turn, and then you follow this calculator, you go here, and you need to put your starting sensitivity. For me, it's around 3 or something, I think, and I have like 1600 DPI, and this calculator that will give you lower and higher sensitivity. So what you need is just try to literally switch your sensitivity in the game. Just go on the your settings, yeah, and put in that sensitivity, and then after that, play it like 1-2 minutes, try to hit the target, and see how that goes. And after you've done that, just choose the sensitivity which is more comfortable to you. So see, it's just first step. Yeah, first step. I'm choosing what's more comfortable. Let's say lower sensitivity would be more comfortable for me. Okay, and then it gives you other iterations again, and you need to repeat that up to 6 times. So let's say I've done that, I repeat that, and I played again. You try this sensitivity, you play with that, see which one works. It will take around 20 minutes. It's a longer fix, but it's still better. Now you're choosing all these iterations, and it's gonna give you this. Okay, this final 7 iteration. Okay, it's gonna give you your perfect sensitivity in a way. 1.59, for example, here. Obviously, I did choose the random answers here, but it's something you can try out. I recommend PSA method first. I do find it a bit more difficult to play with high sensitivity on controller. It doesn't feel natural to me. Well, yeah, that makes sense. That makes sense, I think, because on controller it just, yeah, I think it, for me, it also felt the same. I don't have a lot of info on that, but yeah, I understand. I think I tried out the PSA, and their instructions were to find a sensitivity that allows you to do 360 degrees turn with a full mouse sweep. Yeah, exactly. Full mouse sweep, you should be able to do that. Okay, I needed an incredibly high sensitivity for that, completely uncontrollable. Is it not supposed to be 180 degrees instead? Well, the thing is, if you... So it depends on how you control your mouse too, right? If I do it really fast, I think... Let me see. If I do it really fast, it'll go from here to here, because it also depends on if you have your acceleration enabled or not. Generally speaking, I think you should be, yeah, you should be able to do that. 360 turns in Mario Rivals is something you should aim for. Like me, I think my setup is not properly allowing me to do that. Give me a second. Maybe let's say I try it like this way. Yeah, it's almost fine. Yeah, but I'm not sure what it depends on the size of your mouse pad as well. Maybe it depends on if you have mouse acceleration or not. I think it should be. If you look at the mouse settings, usually it's disabled by default, but for some people, if it's enabled, it's also might be faster. But yeah, let me see. I needed incredibly high sensitivity. Yeah, is it not supposed to be 180? Well, 180 is also fine. It depends on the character you play. It just, they suggest that because in the hero shooters, let's say I play like Overwatch and Mario Rivals, you have to do a lot of this movement. That's why it's okay. Like with this 360 turns, yeah, it's like almost it's mostly it's fine, but 180 can also work. I think 180 can also work, to be honest. If you don't not moving a lot, you don't have this high movement character, more static, I think it's fine. I'm only able to do around 180 from the middle, the mouse pad, 360 from one edge to the other. Do I need to change this so it's 360 from the middle? Yeah, it's 360, it's from one edge to another. It should be that, ideally. It should be that. You can follow instructions, just in case, I think, but yeah, it should be ideally that you will be able to do, let's say, if I do this on my mouse pad, let me try. So I go from point, just a complete edge, yeah? This is going from left side to right side. Yeah, it seems I have enough space because I moved my keyboard a little bit. It's not too much as well. It feels like 25 centimeters or so. That's how much space I got. Yeah, maybe 30. So it's going from left to right, literally. Yeah, I think it's not as much, for at least from my perspective. Probably gotta start low and work your way up. Slightly increase it by. Okay, yeah, that makes sense. Yeah, exactly. You gotta just try to put in all the variables here and then see what works for you. I think I can do 180 from one side of the mouse pad to the other. Going any faster feels unmanageable for me. Well, keep in mind that 360 is gonna be your it's gonna be your max point, okay? Because in real games, most of the time, 360 is not something what you will do all the time. Just keep it as like max value, okay? You will not do 360 all the times. 180 is a good average, what you will do, okay? So it's enough. 180 is enough, but 360, again, for my mousepad, if I look at like 30 centimeters, that's how much you need. Maybe a little bit more, it feels. But you can also read in addition in this article here, I think. They did put enough information in here too. But yeah, generally speaking, it should be enough. Pointers for controller players. I also have something for controller players, actually. Give me a second. I will send this to you because I don't have too much information on controller exactly. I'm gonna be honest in terms of just how you're moving. The idea stands the same in terms of when you're trying to rearrange your sensitivity. Yeah, just like make sure you play with those things a little bit more. I'm not sure about like this complete 360 180 thing. How do you calculate that? But give me a moment. I will give something to you as well. Okay, identifying your bass controller sensitivity. Okay, I'm not sure. Okay, let me see. I'm not sure how this useful is, but there's something from Blizzard forum I saved before. Okay, so you might find it useful, but it's been for Overwatch. I'm not sure how it's useful for Marvel Rivals. Let me see. Okay, I will link it to you anyway. I will link that to you. Give me a second. I think I'm just gonna link it right there. Maybe read that. Maybe there are gonna be some solutions to what we mentioned as well. I'm gonna need to do a lot of adjustments if I'm going to have to set up my sensitivity to do 360 from one side or the mousepad to another. Should I do it? Well, first off, can you try to play with 180 and those numbers first? This is the most important, I think, compared to doing 360 completely. 360 is just so you have enough space, so you're not hitting your keyboard. And that's something what I want to mention too at last. When you're doing those micro readjustments, because a lot of people, they just go from point A to point B, they do it really fast, right? Then let's say I will draw that for you. Give me a second. I think it's gonna be, yeah, let's use this board here. Let's say there's like a keyboard on the left side, okay? And your mouse is like this, okay? You just moving the mouse left and right, kind of go left, right, and sometimes people, because they don't have enough space, they either hit the keyboard. When they do another turn, they try to kind of follow up. Let's say I do complete left turn, and then you hit the keyboard, or like you hit, I don't know, something at the right space or right side of your desk. It's not ideal, so you want to make sure that you have enough space, generally speaking, so this will not happen. But again, it's just max value, you know. Let me see. We can ask ChatGPT to give us good sensitivity. Well, just do the same method, I think. ChatGPT, and a lot of people, but something I want to mention, if you look at this website here, even pros, they have different sensitivities. They don't have settings for Marvel Rivals here listed, but I have some for other games, like any closed game like Overwatch would do just fine. Yeah, it's also hero shooter. You can see that there are some sensitivities which are pretty pretty high. And if you look at this, well, first off, for anyone who don't know, DPI, it's your mouse setting. It's just how fast your mouse can go from point A to point B, sort of. I explain it in a basic way. And there's sensitivity in the game. And when you multiply that number, DPI and sensitivity, it's your eDPI. That's how you can know which number you need for any of the games when you use that. Yeah, it just gives you the general sense of what number you should be aiming for. Yeah, just doesn't matter what game you are playing. You need to. There's another thing you also need to keep in mind. What's your zoomed sensitivity is, so you make calculations. But yeah, like the basic thing, DPI, EDPI, sensitivity, it gives you this DPI, and you can see that some of the people, like this guy, Hodba, this sensitivity is really, really huge. I think my sensitivity back in the days, it was pretty high as well. My EDPI, it used to be like 8K, something 8,000, but I've mostly been playing characters with really like it was a lot of movement needed. Yeah, like Tracer, for example, and even characters like if you play even like Reinhardt, let's say I want to swing left and right, you also would require a lot of movement in Overwatch. That's in this game in Marvel Rivals, I would just need to. If I play something like Spider-Man, sensitivity is going to be higher. If I would play something like Iron Fist, I found that sensitivity is also higher, generally speaking, because you need to kind of go in, out of their backline a lot. But yeah, what I recommend is don't copy the pro settings, yeah, because everyone's different. Sensitivity is just a tool. Just do your own research. Just do what's more comfortable to you, first off. Okay, let me see. Okay, any questions? Okay, I don't see any questions, it seems. Maybe I missed some, but I think I covered pretty much everything. Okay, mine was actually slow, so I turned it up for me. Yeah, okay. You have one? Yeah. Ask your questions. You can unmute as well. It's fine.
Okay, cool. Yeah, just real quick, it's way easier just to say it. So, do you think it's more important to be able to like rotate, like as a controller playing, to be able to turn onto somebody, or do you think it's more important to be able to like react faster with your aim settings, or you think it's more important to feel like when I aim, I'm aiming straight rather than being off when I aim?
Yeah. That makes sense. So first off, regarding the do you need to react? I don't think so. You more need to develop a habit of just trying to trying to adjust your aim based on where the enemies might be, anticipate what they might do, look at their abilities, look at where they are, and then you position your crosshair. This way it makes it easy. And generally speaking, we need to also watch our crosshair placement, right? That's something I didn't mention yet, but crosshair placement. What's your default crosshair? Is it on head level? Is it on some sort of corner where to expect an enemy to be? For example, if I'm running as Hela in here, my cross in the middle of the screen, it doesn't matter if I'm a controller or not, and I will try to go from here to here. It's much harder if my cross is right there compared to if my cross is here. So see, like, I need to do so much less of micro readjustment, right? And this because I exactly expect the character to be around the corner, so it makes it easy. Yeah, compared to this, yeah, there's a high chance of me missing. Even though you might hit those shots, right? But it's still harder. And another thing is, under aim if possible. Under aim first, so you kind of aim from here to here, as I mentioned, and then you readjust afterwards. So you kind of go from this to this real fast and then do small readjustment that makes it easier. Obviously, the more you do that, the more invisible those micro readjustments are. Like we watched the second player with those in one of the aim trainers, yeah, like with those dots, they really good at micro readjustments. I'm not sure if this answers, but this is just general things. I wouldn't say anything in specific other for controller players, honestly. I might be missing some details too, but yeah, I think that's that what we
Yeah.
mentioned. That's it so far.
Yeah, no, yeah, you answered it. You answered me for the most part. My thing is because like coming from like Call of Duty type games to this being the first hero shooter, like I have like aim trainer and stuff that I used to use for Call of Duty, but I don't know if it's the same approach, as far as
Mhm.
training my aim like how I did for AR to like laser vision now.
Yeah, well, let's definitely start with this. What I mentioned before, especially just look at what your decisions are, what your positioning is, how do you practice, stuff like that. Because as I mentioned, those things are affecting your aim more compared to the aim itself. Yeah, that's why you need to practice your aim in game scenarios. Like I mentioned here, you actually need to go in the game and practice there, and it will be easier. Obviously, some of the routines I talked about too, how do you warm up as well, more chaotic movement characters versus them is okay. Like we did it in practice range is totally fine. Using predictions, yeah, I mentioned that too. Oh, fixing default crosshair position. That is another thing I noticed with the students. Sometimes they have the tendency, most people, and that's what my habit was before. I used to have crosshair on the floor for some reason. It just, I don't know. It just some of the habits. It depends on your setup, depending on your posture as well, how you sit maybe as well. But some of the people that have the tendency, their crosshair is a little bit down. Okay, so you have to do this micro adjustments where you go up and then you go left. So it takes a lot of time. So fix your default crosshair position too, head level, and then also making sure that it's it's kind of in the middle, kind of head level. That's it. Yeah, you so this way it will be easier. Corners as well if possible. If you're expecting the enemy to be around the corner, this makes it easy too. My posture sucks. I'm gonna talk about that later too. By the way, there are a lot of misconceptions on this. Also, this entire game chair industries too. Some people would say, yeah, like good game chair is good, but there's some. I will show. Maybe I will link some materials to you as well. You can read some of the stuff on the game chairs too. By the way, regarding, since we talked about the aiming, I also have something for you in addition regarding finding sensitivity if you want to, about this 360 turns whatsoever. Yeah, as I mentioned before, if we move with arm more, then we... Oh, no, I didn't mention that. Yeah, well, this is another part, okay? You can break down the aiming on two main ways. Let's put it this way. You can aim with arm or you can aim with wrist. There is nothing wrong with whatever is suitable to you. Generally speaking, if you aim with wrist more, then there are high chances that you can injure your wrist though, because you're moving a little bit too much with the wrist. But if you do proper warm-up for your wrist, and if your posture is good as well, then it's gonna be okay too. If you're aiming with wrist, generally speaking, you will need high sensitivity. If you aim with arm, yeah, moving my arm from left to the right, then you need lower sensitivity. And I also have something for you. This is gonna be mousepad master sheet. I did use that a lot with some of the players before. You can look at that and just find whatever is the most suitable to you in terms of like the mousepad. You can read the durability, how fast mousepads are, because this also affects how you're moving. Yeah, let's say for some of the people, if you guys not able to go from point A to point B, I would assume if you're not able to do 360 turns, it might be that first off, you aim with your arm. You aim with your arm first off. Yeah, you're not aiming with your wrist. So this is one thing. Probably, yeah, there's a high chance that you aim with your arm. There's also a high chance that your mousepad is more on control side. So what control means is that it's kind of slow movement, yeah, versus fast mousepads where you're able to go from point A to point B pretty fast too. I personally really like Artisan, the mousepads in general, but I will link this to you guys. Yeah, you can read about that too. There's a good spreadsheet there. Okay, let me see. Any questions so far? Lumbar support. What is that? Not sure. Okay, let me see. Like high sensitivity tend to use more wrist. Low sensitivity tend to use more arm. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. You're right, Snacks. I've been told by multiple people that you want a combo of an arm and wrist. Yeah, ideally, that's where most people end up with, yeah, because nobody is like just do one and another. Yeah, it's like, again, you can imagine like a scale. On one side you have the arm aim, on the other side there's more wrist aim. Usually you have the balance. I personally have somewhat of a what's called a claw grip. You're going from point well, I do a lot of wrist aiming this way, and just my hand, just hand aim allows me to stay more smooth in a way. Yeah, so this is how I would put it. Yeah, we'll talk about claw grips later. I mean, all the grips later as well. It's just in our next masterclasses. Today, I think we don't have enough time on it, but yeah, it's fine. Let me read any final questions if you guys got any. Okay, yeah. Okay, I don't see any questions. It seems. Do you guys have any? Maybe you can unmute, ask me anything. I will share this presentation as well. Oh yeah.
Game posture. Well, what is game posture? I don't even know what that is. But like, what is posture for the game while playing? Is it sitting up straight or like?
Well, aim posture. Okay. It's a big topic again. But generally speaking, it depends on your chair. It depends on how you're sitting. What I would start with first off, if you imagine when you sit. I need the board for this, I think. Okay, when you sit, imagine your monitor is kind of like this, okay, and this is you, okay. You sit in this way. Ideally, you should sit on a level where you're able to see this last 1/3 of the monitor. Give me one moment. I will draw that so it makes sense. Okay, so you separate monitor on 3 lines. Kinda. So this is first line, second line, third line. And if I'm sitting, I should be able, my eye level should be on this line above right there. Okay, again, not the most perfect drawing, but if this is at this line, then it makes it less tense in your neck, also your back, and you also need to, your posture. There are also other things. I will cover that later because there are a lot of other stuff, but start with that at least. See what level your chair and the table is. Maybe you need to lower that. Maybe you need to put it down, go up as well. That's why monitors, you can readjust the height usually. You can go up and down. So make sure you fix that first though, because most of the gamers, they have this pain in the back. They have this pain in the sometimes in the neck too. Yeah, a wrist is another thing. We'll talk about that later. We'll talk about. I have some info on how to prevent the wrist injuries too. But yeah, it's a good start right there. Okay. Any other questions? Okay, is it better to have?
Gefest.
Oh yeah.
I have I have another mouse pad sheet. If you want me just throw it in the chat as well.
You can share. I think this is just from I think it's not as updated. Maybe like mine at least.
Because I have another one. I sent it to Gibby a couple days ago. I can just link it here too if you want.
Yeah, I think it's fine if they have the same explanations there. I think it's usable.
I do not know about that, to be honest, because I've actually never used it. I've only looked over a couple times.
Yeah, it's okay. It's okay. Maybe you can just link it. I'm not sure. Are you allowed to post links? If you are, then it's okay.
I believe so. I'm not 100%
Yeah,
sure.
let's check. Yeah, you can post it in the chat then, pretty much. Yeah, we can take a look. But I like the spreadsheet I posted because it gives you the understanding of how the prices, durability versus fast, slow, all of that. I think maybe it's not like fully updated with the recent ones. I'm not sure. I think it should be. I think it's pretty new, but maybe yours even better. It's okay. You can post it if you want. Okay, let me see. Any questions? Any questions? Okay, can't see any. I see that you posted the mousepad. Okay, mousepad info guide. Oh yeah, there's another one too. Size, price, texture. Yeah, there's some info. I think it's kind of similar to mine as well, but yeah, just one big spreadsheet. Maybe you guys can compare both of those. It's fine. I didn't look into that like here though, so no, I can't guarantee everything, but yeah, the first one I posted, we've been using that with the players for sure. I think it's been pretty good updated.
Oh, I have another question as well.
Oh yeah.
Would mouse shape affect your like sensitivity and stuff like that, like shape, weight,
oh
sensor,
yeah,
all that
100%.
jazz?
Yeah, 100%. I will talk about that later too. By the way, it's
Okay.
it's gonna be in mouse control. Yeah, just for now we have to skip that, but it's just multiple things. Mouse control, we'll talk about that too. Generally speaking, if you trying to do something like wrist aim, I think, well, again, it depends on the player, but let's say I want to prevent wrist injuries. Usually lightweight is better, for example. Bigger weight is, if you want to, for example, personally, like why I prefer like maybe not as low weight, because I sometimes how do I put it? It's just when I go from point A to point B, I do that can do that so fast in a way, so it feels almost like the mouse is not there. Kind of, I need some sort of to feel the mouse in a way. So that's why I put in some weight in there, so it feels that I'm more in control. Here is too lightweight, and it's not as good for me. I also go in the gym as well, so sometimes when you do those hard movement left, right, I think it's just like the way my muscles work. I think I need just slight more weight as well, so it makes it easy for me to aim. I don't know, it's player's preference, generally speaking, but yeah, I'll talk about that more. I will probably also prepare some materials as well, like I did today, so it will make more sense. But yeah, we mostly covered everything for today, what I wanted. Practice in the game, finding sensitivity. Yeah, most of the stuff. We're gonna cover much more later, 100%. Well, I think for the most part, that's it. Again, we only use those two themes. So you guys can, we're gonna do more masterclasses on the aiming as well. Part 2, maybe part 3, I'll talk about mechanics more, positioning, decisions, maybe other stuff as well, like posture, the way you just position your monitor, maybe the wrist stuff, how to prevent injuries, all of that. It's gonna be for later too. But for now, I think that's it. Any final questions?
For me, not really. I mean,
Yeah, we covered as much as possible in 1 hour, so hope you guys enjoyed that. If you learned at least 1-2 things, if you're able to apply those, I will be glad already. And yeah, remember that you gotta practice everything one step at a time. Really good luck in your games. If you have any questions, just message me, maybe tag me, send your materials to you as well. It's okay, I will use that in the next masterclasses too. Whenever I prepare, I just I have a lot of notes from previous sessions, right? So I use those mainly, and I also use some of the materials when we work in the team, when we work in one-on-one sessions before. I just have some bunch of stuff saved, so I use that pretty much. I do a little bit of research, but yeah, if you have anything what you want me to add in here, you can share it with me. I will be glad to present it here. I will do some research on that though. So yeah. All right, thanks for presentation. Yeah, no problem. I know it's like a lot of text though. It's just more kind of me writing down stuff, just what came to mind based on the previous stuff. But yeah, it's yeah, I'm glad you enjoyed that. Yeah, no problem.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, thank you guys.
Yeah.
Thank you guys. I will. Sorry, I will see everyone later. And
Yep.
next week probably the next masterclass on the same topic, maybe community water reviews, but we'll see. If I have time to prepare, I will do another mechanics in masterclass. All right, bye
See you-
everyone.
See you next week.
All right, thank you. Bye.
Yeah. Bye.
Later.